Good morning and welcome to our news bulletin, coming to you live from Warsaw. I'm Saria Strzemska. And we begin with Austria, as the country's Chancellor Karl Nehammer announced he is stepping down after new government talks failed. The nation's largest centrist parties have not managed to create a government without including the far-right Freedom Party.
Austria's Chancellor Karl Nehammer will step down in the next days, both as Chancellor and party leader. The Liberal Neos Party's exit from coalition talks with Nehammer's Conservative People's Party OVP and the Social Democrats SPO prompted the collapse of coalition talks more than 3 months after September's parliamentary election.
We are all aware that compromises have to be made in government negotiations, but never at the expense of the people. That is not compatible with the values of the People's Party.
If successful, the OVP and SPO would have had only 1-seat majority in the Austrian parliament, which was little to begin with. The SPO leader, Andreas Babler, expressed regret over OVP's decision to end negotiations. He added that one of the key obstacles revolved around repairing the, quote, record deficit left by the earlier government.
That was definitely the most important issue in these negotiations. After the end of the last government, after the elections in late September, it was revealed that we need to, our government needs to reduce the budget deficit by about 18 billion euros over the next couple of years.
Austria's centrist party struggled to reach an agreement without the far-right Freedom Party FPO, led by Herbert Kickl. The Eurosceptic Russia-friendly FPO had won almost 29% of the vote in the September parliamentary election.
It's a piece of history that we have written today.
But despite its electoral success, other parties refused to join a coalition with the FPO. Previously, Nehammer ruled out partnering with Kickl, but it seems that Nehammer's party, OVP, might enter talks with FPO after all.
We recently learned that temporarily Karl Nehammer was replaced as leader of the OVP party by Christian Stocker, who got his role, and Christian Stocker announced openly that he's open to negotiate with FPO.
After the elections, Austrian President Alexander Van der Bellen ruled out the possibility of inviting Kickl to form the government, but this too seems to have changed since. The president invited FPO's Kickl to a meeting on Monday.
It is quite likely that the federal president may actually decide to ask Herbert Kickl to engage in negotiations for a new government. Actually, from my perspective, that's the most likely option now, that there will be negotiations between the FPÖ and the ÖVP as the next step.
The next government will be faced with the challenge of saving more than 18 billion euro, and the person tasked with forming the government could potentially become Austria's next chancellor, if successful.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy said that a ceasefire agreement with Russia must include security guarantees for Kyiv. In an interview with podcaster Lex Friedman, Zelenskyy expressed confidence that incoming US President Donald Trump will bring Vladimir Putin to the negotiating table.
January 25th or some other day? Well, you just call it January 25th. And I don't mind. It's my birthday. And we sit down, first of all, with Trump. We agree with him on how we can stop the war, stop Putin. It is important for us to sit down with him. Secondly, it is very important for us that Europe, which is very important for us because we are part of Europe, and not only geographically, geopolitically, but also in the European Union where we will be. For us, it is very important that Europe also has a voice. It's the second thing. It won't be long because Europe will be looking at us and will be looking at Trump. And by the way, I now see that when I talk about something with Donald Trump, whether we meet in person or we just have a call, all the European leaders always ask, how was it? This shows the influence of Donald Trump. And this has never happened before. With an American president, I tell you from my experience.
Olaf Scholz has spoken out on Elon Musk's support for the far-right alternative for Germany. The German Chancellor has called Musk lending stage to AfD politicians on his social media platform an issue, and said he not only disagrees with the future head of the US Department of Government Efficiency, but outright rejects his point of view.
What is certainly new is the fact that it is a global media entrepreneur. What is certainly new is the fact that with algorithms, it is not certain how opinion is formed and organized by the structures of these systems. This is an issue, but not the decisive one. The crucial point is that Mr. Musk has supported some right-wing extremist parties. As you can see, he is not only acting this way in this country, and that is something we not only disagree with, we reject it.
The gas carrier Mulan, part of the Russian Shadow Fleet, has been circling in the Northern Sea off the coast of Norway for a week now. The seabed in the area is packed with underwater infrastructure, and following the recent sabotage incidents in the Baltic Sea, the ship's erratic course has raised concerns in Oslo. Our reporter Paweł Trzaskowski has more.
This vessel shown here is a floating storage unit, designed to hold large quantities of liquefied gas. Another Russian sanctioned ship of this type, SAM FSU, has been stationed in the Kola Peninsula for over a year. In December, it was supposed to receive a transshipment of gas from Mulan, a Shadow Fleet gas carrier registered in Panama. Having reportedly unloaded its cargo, Mulan is now in the Northern Sea off the coast of Norway, sailing in circles for over a week. The ship's suspicious movements attracted attention of the Norwegian Coast Guard, as in that part of the seabed lay gas pipes, joining Norway, Denmark and Great Britain, as well as other undersea connection infrastructure. These suspicious movements add to the many concerns in European waters sparked by foreign ships. In late December, the Estlink 2 underwater power cable, connecting Finland and Estonia, was severed, and Finnish authorities have detained the Eagle S ship and its crew, suspected of causing the failure.
We were able to get the situation under control and locate the ship in question, bring it to Finnish waters and begin a criminal proceeding.
Finland is leading the way when it comes to dealing with Russia's hybrid attacks, with its so far singular responses, but they might form a benchmark for a future policy of dealing with the attacks, especially as Russia clearly aims to intrude on NATO waters.
We need to understand how important is it that the Putin policy now concentrate to the completely change the situation at the Baltic Sea. Okay, of course, they concentrate on the invasion of Ukraine, but at the same time trying to hit, let's say, the most sensitive part of the NATO.
Both Mulan and Eagle S are part of the Russian so-called Shadow Fleet. The Russians operate these ships under flags of convenience, often belonging to other countries, in order to avoid US and European sanctions. There are now more than 630 tankers in the Shadow Fleet. It is estimated that they transport around 70% of all Russian seaborne oil. In a recent EU sanctions package, 45 additional third country ships carrying oil from Moscow were added to the list of sanctioned vessels.
The leader of Moldova's breakaway region of Transnistria, Vadim Krasnoselski, has warned residents to prepare for power outages and advised them to burn firewood for heating as the region grapples with a severe energy crisis. This comes after Ukraine halted Russian gas deliveries through its territory, leaving Transnistria without a crucial energy source. Over 1,500 apartment buildings were left without heating or hot water, and nearly 72,000 private households were cut off from gas, the leader said. He urged residents in rural areas to make use of wood reserves for heating, highlighting that the region is rich in wood. Krasnoselski also warned that rolling blackouts would be necessary to protect the power grid, though he assured residents that a schedule would be in place to minimize disruptions. Temperatures in the capital of the breakaway region, Tiraspol, were expected to remain just above freezing, further exacerbating the challenges faced by the population. This is a fantastic woman who has really taken Europe by storm, said US President-elect Donald Trump about Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni during her visit to Florida. With this visit, she becomes the second European leader to meet Trump in the US since his re-election, after Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orbán.
Trump, as playful as ever, pointed above Meloni's head as they walked into a documentary screening, celebrating her as another one of his chosen guests to his Florida golf club. But the visit had more to it than just watching a documentary. It comes following the detention of Italian journalist Cecilia Sala in Iran, just days after Italy arrested an Iranian suspect at the US's request for allegedly supplying drone components to Iran's Revolutionary Guards. Meloni's visit is seen as an attempt to bring the Italian journalist back to her loved ones.
The Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni has made a significant improvement. From the reassuring responses I used to receive, she's now been more precise and timely, which is exactly what I wanted, and that's what I got.
Another topic that might have been on the agenda is Trump's tariffs.
Many think that might be additional taxes, tariffs introduced by American president, which may also hurt Italians. So that, in that extent, talking about economic exchange is important to make both economies growing, rather not the one only.
As the second European leader to visit Trump after his re-election following Viktor Orban's visit, Meloni may be positioning herself as the link across the Atlantic that many are seeking.
She might be a bridge, while Orban, even though he is extravagance, his position is rather weak in the European Union. Meloni presents a much higher level of political shift power.
Her ties with Trump ally Elon Musk also position her as a potential US-EU mediator, as noted by Marta Prowicz from the European Council of Foreign Relations, who also mentioned Polish PM Donald Tusk.
I think it's not only Giorgia Meloni, but it's also Donald Tusk. So while I still stick to the fact that I think leadership is overrated, that actually proves the point, because it could be a coalition of the two. I mean, both are very well positioned in order to have a role within the EU and to speak to the new US administration. And Giorgia Meloni has very good contacts with Elon Musk.
I can count on you.
Whether it's Poland's Tusk or Italy's Meloni, the speculation will be put to rest after Trump's inauguration on the 20th of this month.
The US Congress will convene on Monday to certify the results of the US 2024 presidential election, finalizing President-elect Donald Trump's win ahead of his inauguration. Congress will meet in a joint session to unseal the electoral vote records from each state. US Vice President Kamala Harris, who is the outgoing president of the Senate, will preside over the electoral count. She will also officially announce Trump's victory. Once the vote is certified, Trump will be inaugurated on January 20th. Thousands of South Koreans have braved heavy snow in Seoul to participate in rival demonstrations calling for and against the arrest of impeached President Yoon Suk-yeol. The protests come as South Korea's political crisis deepens, with the arrest warrant for Yoon, accused of insurrection, set to expire at midnight on Monday. Demonstrators gathered near Yoon's official residence, some demanding his immediate arrest, while others gathered to protest against it. Temperatures plummeted below 5 degrees Celsius, with some protesters spending the night in downtown Seoul to show their support for their respective causes. Yoon, who was impeached by parliament and suspended from his duties, is awaiting a decision from the Constitutional Court on whether he will be reinstated or permanently removed from the office. The political turmoil intensified on Friday, January 3rd, when criminal investigators attempted to arrest Yoon, only to be blocked by his presidential security service and military forces in a tense 6-hour standoff. And now on a lighter note, the annual Golden Globes kicked off on Sunday night in Hollywood, marking the award ceremony's 82nd edition. Actors from around the world competed for the prestigious prize. Let's take a closer look at some of the winners. The event, which was hosted by comedian Nikki Glaser, featured a star-studded audience packed with actors and filmmakers. In the most prestigious categories, Brady Corbett won with The Brutalist for the Best Drama, and Jacques Audiard, Emilia Perez, taking Best Musical or Comedy. The star of I'm Still Here, Fernanda Torres, won Best Actress in a drama, and Demi Moore took her first Golden Globe in her career for her turn in Substance. The US-made historical drama Shogun took home all the 4 titles it was nominated for: Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Drama Series and Best Supporting Actor. And with this update from the world of culture, we conclude World News. Thank you for watching, and please stay tuned for more World Talks coming up next.